Hi guys, Icecracks here. So we are back with another drift build, or basically another drift build, tune build, I don't know, whatever comes along. I've done some really wacko ones previously with the Lamborghini drift build, but now we're returning back to normal territory with a 370. So basically this is a 370Z, yellow, I bought it. I've actually done this tune build, I did the tuning before, testing and stuff, but then I'll be showing you what I did with the tune build, and I'll basically show you the build. And, well, let's open up the car, well, the 370 actually. Unfortunately, you can't open the engine in the trunk because I don't know why Forza hasn't managed to, Turn 10 managed to design the interiors. This is sort of the engines I meant. So this is the interiors of the 370, which is quite nice. It's got a lot of buttons, things like that. Standard of a Nissan 370. Start the engine up. Give it a good rev, I guess. There you go, there's a good rev. But anyway, we probably should get to the build, so yeah, let's go to the upgrade shop and, well, tune the car. Well, we'll first get the upgrades, jeez. So here are the standard upgrades. Generally, we're going to do... Actually, to be honest, we're going to start off with a conversion first, because this car's engine is slightly underpowered when it comes to power, to be honest. So we're going to do an aspiration conversion to a twin-turbo setup. As you can see, the power band is a little bit low, and the kilowatts, or the power and torque is low, sort of really low, so it's not exactly nice for drifting. You want a bit more power, so you kick it up with the twin turbos, 75 kilowatts, and about, I don't know how many newton meters, I can't really calculate it, almost 100 newton meters. So yeah, basically that's a twin turbo setup, basically put that in, and here's where all the parts. So tires, we put street tires on, street compound as always. I always like running street compound. It's really up to you if you want to run whatever compound you want to run. You can run sports, you can run race tires. Though I personally like Formula D. Since I watch, I'm a big follower of Formula Drift, I sort of follow the rules and use street tires for all the cars, basically. Widen up those tires, get maximum grip while going sideways, because you want to be able to have the car under control while drifting. So you want to maximize the drift. And sort of for a personal spin, I went and put the rims. What rims did I put? I'm going to flick through. I think they were a 5-spoke or something. What did I put on the car, actually? Let me find them. It's somewhere down the line. I don't know if I put a 5-spoke. I definitely think... Where are the rims? I don't know why I put these ones on. I definitely should put some 5-spokes on, because... what's the name? Chris Forsberg's car has a 5-spoke. I believe... Where's a good 5-spoke? I'm going to look for a good 5-spoke, because I don't know, this good 5-spoke is needed for Chris Forsberg's car, because obviously I'm a big Formula D fan, and Forsberg's actually in 4th right now for Formula D, and Irwindale's this weekend, and basically he's battling for 3rd, so need some good rims. Might put some Einekes on. Or actually no, I like deep dish. I like deep dish rims. 5-spoke deep dish. If I can find one, that'd be nice. Be very nice. I'm just gonna... I don't know. I'm gonna... Actually, you know what? Screw it. I'm too lazy. I'm just gonna leave it with the stock rims, because the rims I was running before, because the WOC rims are quite nice. Multiple spokes. I don't know, it's just basically all round a nice rim, even though it sort of doesn't fit the car if I'm making a Chris Forsberg recreation. So... Rim sizes, you don't change it that much, because whenever you tweak the rim sizes, it tends to affect the handling a little bit. Not exactly optimal, having big rims and stuff. The aerodynamics, basically I ran with the second Nismo bumper, I believe. Yep. Yeah, I ran with the second Nismo. Or was it this one? I don't know. I think it was this one or this one, I don't remember. Yeah, I think it was the second Nismo bumper I ran with. If I put the vinyl on later and it looks wrong, it's probably the first Nismo bumper. So we put the good old small spoiler on, because big spoiler, it's downforce and you don't really want too much, and the first Nismo spoiler sort of doesn't fit the car or the design. So we're going to put the second Nismo spoiler. Actually, this is all personal preference. You can do whatever you want. You can put whatever vinyls you want. This is all just what I like and, well, what I'm recreating. And the side skirts is the first Nismo side skirt. So this is all personal preference. Do whatever you want. Clutch, standard racing clutch. You need all the racing parts for transmission things. Racing transmission. And racing driveline. If it wants to do it. I guess it's not going to do it. And, as always, you need a differential. You need a racing differential to get the job done. Because if you don't have a racing differential, you can't adjust the differential, basically, lock-up percentage. And you do need to play around with that. Brakes, you need maximum braking power when you go into initiate a drift, so therefore you want to lock those tires up, and get those rims, get those brakes basically to lock up and slide you. Anti-roll bars. This is all. This is actually just all standard for drift cars. Just race parts, everything. It never really changes, to be honest, because well, you want to maximize handling, and then you can play around with the power you have while drifting, because that's where it sort of comes into play. Maximum race. Yeah. What am I saying? Weight reduction, bro. Race weight reduction. That's all key. You need to take as much weight as possible, make it as light as a car possible. And here comes where the finicky parts are. I believe I have. Okay. I ran an exhaust system, good old race exhaust system. Because you don't really need too much power on the 370 to get the car really sliding. I put some cams, race camshafts, and cam valves, basically. And I believe I ran like a racing twin turbo to put the power up a little bit more. And of course a racing flywheel to get the power response time on point, basically. You need the power to be on point at all times. And yeah, so the final numbers, I believe, are 517 kilowatts and 661 newton meters at 1.2 tons. With a 52 ratio percentage front to back. So it's a little bit front heavy, but it's typical. It's pretty 50-50 weight redistribution. So yeah, now we're going to move on to the tuning part, which is the more complicated part. Because there's a lot of numbers to be played with, as most tunings tend to have a lot of numbers. So personally, I like dropping the tire pressure a little bit so I can get a bit of basically get the tires to heat up much more quickly. And I don't know, it's just personal preference. You can run the tire pressure really high if you don't like the car. If you think it's too sticky, you can run it at a high tire pressure so you can sort of just skid out. Gear ratios, they do change from stock because personal preference, I don't exactly like how the gear ratio is set up. So my numbers are 3.85 for final, 3.10 for first gear. If I can get to it. It's also very, very warm in my room without my fan on. Obviously recording without a fan, which is never good. 2.05 for second gear. 1.40, drop that down, for third gear. 1.05 for fourth gear. 0.85 for fifth gear. And 0.71 for sixth gear. You don't really need it. Those final gears don't really matter too much because you're not throwing your car into drift in who knows how fast you're going, 200 k's an hour, unless you're drifting Daytona, which is not really nice track. Camber, I put it all the way up to -2 degrees, -2 degrees camber for both tires, both front and back. Put a bit of toe on it, put 0.3 degrees and 0.5 degrees of toe on the car, and I put a caster of 5.7. It's pretty standard. I don't know, pretty standard for most cars, actually. God, it's very warm in here, actually. Put the anti-roll bars to 11.6, if I wrote the numbers wrong, jeez. 11.62 and 11.46. These are just arbitrary numbers that I've played around with and basically got good testing results out of it. And the suspension, softened them a little bit, but not softened too much, so to 11.4 and 11.5. 105. What am I saying? 111.5 and 111.4. Ride height, generally you want to leave it stock, because if you drop the springs, unless it's really necessary or very part of the car, you don't really want to drop the springs, because when you drop the springs and you hit a curb, it's probably going to spin you. And I don't really like doing that, and losing points, or losing tandem, or just screwing up your drift. So rebound stiffness, you want to soften them a lot, so you can get that transition, you can get that basically transition-y feel to 4.1. I don't know, these are just numbers I've tested. I don't know how these numbers work in real life, but just obviously you can't exactly do all these things, these specific numbers in real life unless you have a racing setup. That's why experimentation. Aerodynamics you can't really change because not really adjustable aero. We have the brake ratio to 55% forward, 5% forward, and 110 braking pressure, so you can get those front tires to lock up, so you can flick the car back out. And you have a differential of 80-60 because that's how it feels. Like, I don't know, it's personal preference how differential works, how differential setup. But when it's 80, you can get the acceleration to get going, and in decelerating, you can lock the tires up and get the car going sideways. So yeah, there's the tune build. So we're going to take it for a spin, basically, and we'll show you on, I don't know, something. I think we're going to go something different because we've done Indianapolis, we've done Le Mans, we've done Indianapolis, we've done Bernese Alps, we've done Lime Rock. I think we might hit up good old Prague, because Prague I don't think I've hit up very much. And we're going to do I might do the short circuit, because the short circuit reverse is quite nice, because it's got the big basically big drift circle you can do. Make sure that this difficulty is on cosmetic, because when you're testing it or driving it on test drive, you don't really want to smash the car up. So we're at Prague now, and well, we're gonna get going, I guess. Also, I probably should put a skin on, but I guess the skin's really optional. I probably should put the finished skin once I've done a bit of a test drive for it. Clutch kick, never lift, as I say. I've been saying that a lot, actually, in drift lobbies. Also, the good thing about the twin turbos is the powers gets on very quickly. The twin turbo doesn't have doesn't have too much lag, so you can get on the power very, very quickly, and you tend not to have issues with it, which I had issues with original with my 370 build from Forza 5, where it just didn't get on the power very quickly, and when it did get on the power, it would just surprise the hell out of you. That was terrible drifting, because I'm trying to commentate and drive at the same time, but which is something I have to learn very much. Basically, in the Forza 5 version of my 370 build, I had very big issues with power response time, mainly because the turbos didn't spool up fast enough, and I had just issues getting on the power. I'm going to hit a bunch of cones and go around, but screw it. Basically, just had issues getting on the power, and it just, whenever I was in mid-turn, mid-drift, the power would get on and basically screw me over. I don't even know where I'm going. This is the short circuit, I guess. It's a very short circuit, I must say. Actually, I'm used to doing it in forward and short, which is typical, but I might go for another lap, actually, because that was quite fun drifting. But yeah, usually I do the short circuit in forward on Forza 5. I did a lot in Forza 5, short circuit forward. Get that lock up those tires, get around, bring around. I'm not the greatest drifter in the world, but at least I can drift. Yeah, it's a great setup though. It's a nice balanced drifting car. Like it's a balance between high power and agile. I have a few cars that tend to be very agile cars, but then they tend to be very difficult to handle on the big turns and stuff, because they don't have enough speed to get on. Like, they don't have enough speed to maintain the drift. And then I have other cars that can maintain those type of drifts, but can't navigate really narrow, tight circuits, such as my Mustang, which is more of a beginner's car, because it's very slow to turn around and transition, but it's a very good beginner's car to start on with, because you don't really want sudden transitions, because you're a beginner and you don't really expect a sudden transition. Also, I'm drifting the wrong way. And generally, you want a good transition time you can react to, you can catch, and as you get better, you can basically have a faster transition time. And you can see I'm skidding up the wheels like crazy. And I'm going to park it by the wall. By the pits. But yeah, I'm going to switch back over to basically showing you what the final product looks like with the vinyls. So, here is the final design with all the vinyls on. There's obviously a few things missing that you can't exactly do with the Forza car, but you can always paint it on with the vinyls. I'll let the camera do the work with Forza's Vista. But yeah, basically this design is basically an imitation of Chris Forsberg's 370 with the paint job and everything. Obviously nice carbon panels and obviously Hankook tires branding. But yeah, basically this design was made by PTG Curtis. He makes very, very, very exquisite Formula Drift designs. He also makes Chris Vongen Jr., which his car is currently destroyed, so he's not competing at Owendale, and Frederick Osbo, which basically has the championship locked down for Owendale because he's so far ahead on points. But yeah, PTG Curtis makes some really, really good designs with basically Formula Drift cars, and I always like using his designs, so yeah. But anyway, this is what the 370 looks like, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Obviously, this is obviously a new drift build. You guys can use it, you can do whatever. Also, the design, what am I saying? The tune build is also on my profile, so you can go search for Ice Cracks on my profile. And basically you can find the tune build there and use it, so you don't have to go through the hassle of basically tuning the car, setting up the car parts. You can just use the tune setup, buy the parts, and you can go with it and go into drift lobbies and make points, make money. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Ice Cracks out.